Hello and welcome to my dramatic reading of Giant Anthro, Balto, Togo, Sky, and Other Dogs by Braden Baum. I'll be doing a dramatic reading, however, because I don't have a lot of time, I'm only going to be doing one take of this. So let's begin. Chapter 1. December 2nd, 1926, 12:30 p.m. Balto and Togo were practicing their run for the next race. Their owners, Gunnar Kassen and Leonard Sepala, were with them on the sled. The two lead dogs were leading the rest of the dogs. "Hike!" Sepala yelled. The dogs, unaware that they were going straight to a time machine. Sepala and Gunnar noticed this, but they did not hear them yell to stop. Soon the two lead dogs entered the time machine, and the time machine activated, and the year was set to 2020. They sniffed around, and suddenly started to change. They looked at each other in confusion. Soon, the transformation began to stop. They gained muscles with their muscular bodies. They looked anthropomorphic. But then, they started to grow and grow and grow until the time machine couldn't hold their size and exploded. December 3rd, 2020, 12:50 p.m. They landed in San Francisco, California on December 3rd, 2020. They looked around and then at each other. What is this place?" Balto asked his friend Togo. "I'm not sure," Togo answered. Balto then looked down at the buildings with an evil smile. "This place is pretty small. Maybe we should make more space?" He crushed a few buildings. Balto suggested. Screams were heard by the two dogs. They crushed a few more buildings. "I could get used to this," Togo said excitedly, his tail wagging as he went down his butt, crushing a few buildings. A news van was coming towards the two past canines. "This just in, two massive humanoid dogs are terrorizing San Francisco," the news anchor said. Of course the two dogs heard it. As Balto sat, Togo grabbed the news staff and ate them. Then grabbed the van and crushed it with his stick. Leslie Sepala was watching the news until the news alert came on and she easily recognized the two dogs. "Wait, is that? It can't be. They're dead." Sepala couldn't believe it. She was looking at Togo and Balto as anthropomorphic giants. She had to get down there and reason with them, but unknown to her, she would be tortured by them. She drove down there and arrived at the site. "Balto! Togo!" she yelled, of course. She got their attention. "Do you have any more of those moving boxes?" His tail wagged, crushing buildings behind them. Togo looked down and saw Leslie and her car. "Who?" Togo ignored her wish and crushed her car against Balto's stick. Lucky for Leslie, before her car was crushed, she jumped out onto Balto's stick. "I'm Leslie Sepala. My grandfather's name is Leonard Sepala," Leslie explained. They looked at each other, then at her. "Go on," Balto said. "My grandfather was part of the 1925 ceremony in Noma, Alaska. Well, you see, my grandfather was sad when he lost his lead dog at age 16. His name was Togo, and died in the year 1929. Balto was given all the credit because he saved Nome from diphtheria. But sadly, he died in 1933 at age 14, Leslie explained. Balto then finally said, "Well, that isn't us then." He grabbed her. "You want us to stop?" Togo asked furiously. "Yes, but before you do, I have proof." Leslie took out her phone and showed it to Togo and Balto, and the picture showed them stuffed. And this shocked them and also angered them. "So they made us into these dumb cotton things?" Balto asked as his grip got tighter. They did it because you guys were famous. They put you in the Cleveland Museum of Natural History," she said, pointing at Balto. Then she pointed at Togo, next saying, Iditarod Trail Headquarters Museum in Wasilla, Alaska is where your stuffed body is. However, they did remove Togo's skeleton and mount it, and it's in the possession of the Peabody Museum of Natural History, Leslie explained. This, of course, shocked them even more. Balto was even more shocked than Togo. Togo was just in shock and anger that his skeleton was removed and his own body was stuffed. "That's unbelievable. They take out our bones and put us on a fucking display." He slammed his fist into the ground, causing it to shake. "Look, I'm sorry you think that, but they did it for the people to view. But on the bright side, Balto, You have a statue in Central Park, Sapella said, then continued. It talks about the 1925 serum. Balto looked, fuck the statue. He stood up, still holding her. Togo got up and they started to crush downtown. What are you doing? Leslie asked fiercely and in shock. Destroying the city's not the answer, Leslie yelled. My grandfather taught you to be better, and we'll teach you to be better, Balto yelled. And put her between his pecs and started flexing them so she wouldn't be squished. Balto said to keep talking. Crush, I'm gonna crush her. Flex his pecs more and Leslie stayed silent, but kept on struggling and kept breathing. Togo bent over and built with his tail wagging. Soon, Togo and Balto's stomachs began to growl, shaking the earth and shattering some glasses. Togo grabbed 2 city buses and handed one to Balto. Leslie watched in horror as he saw Togo and Balto peel the bus open with the banana devouring everyone on the bus. Togo was chewing on them while Balto swallowed them whole. Please, no! However, plans changed for Balto and Togo. They wanted to eat Leslie. Part 2. They ate their buses. Then Balto pulled her out of his pecs. But what are you going to do with me? Leslie asked fearfully. They started to lick her gently. You better not eat me, Leslie said. However, things got worse for Leslie. Balto put one side of her in his mouth, and Togo put the other half of her body in his. They were mouth to mouth and bit down, so they'd get their half. Leslie screamed in pain. Stop! I'm sorry! Leslie begged and apologized. They bit down into her and started chewing their side of her. Soon Leslie would be with her grandfather. Lean on. Balto and Togo were done eating. They noticed they already leveled San Francisco. But unaware to them, a self-driving car appeared out, revealed a 20-year-old who has a dark brown hair and scraggly beard and mustache. He decided to walk his dog. The man's name was Braden Baum, and his dog was Sky. Soon Sky was barking crazy, and Braden just said, "Quiet." Sky continued to bark, but then the ground shook, and Braden looked up in shock. Giant dogs! They looked down at him. Yes? Togo asked. Braden was too shocked to speak, but gained access from his shock. What happened to you? Togo then answered. I'm not sure, but we look amazing. His tail wagged and he flexes. Braden looked around, the damage they've done, and turned from fear to anger. What did you do? You've destroyed most of San Francisco. Please don't do anything to me or my dog, Braden begged. However, they spared him into making him their pet. But Balto and Togo decided to make Sky one of them. Braden sees something happening to Sky. Sky starts to grow his paws, turning into hands and feet. His back and legs change and he starts to stand. We've made him one of us, Togo answered, and then replied, if you apologize for raising your voice at us, we'll spare you. Is he forgiven? Sky asked. Yes, Togo answered as Balto nuzzled Braden gently. What are you gonna do now? Braden asked. Sky responded for Balto and Togo. Crush a few more things. Braden was shocked. Why? You are my dog. May we have a moment? Sky asked. They nodded and handed Braden to Sky. He turned and whispered, You're the pet now, and we'll take good care of you. Sky said to Braden. Braden wanted to argue back, but he couldn't as he's lost in words. Oh no, I love you, Braden. I love you, Braden. You like Braden. Sky. But I do love you just Thank you for elaborating on that. I was kind of confused. Braden, thank you. I know that's what you are to me. He doesn't. I can't let my parents see you like this, though. Balto and Togo heard Braden too. That won't matter, Balto said as they both sat down, and Sky sat down too. All the three had all the three had both. Sorry, I have a condition. Where I start laughing. All three had boners. Braden watched in horror. How could they do this, he thought. It was too late as it turned night. Braden fell asleep on Sky's warm fur. They all lay together during the night. December 4th, 2020, 7:35 a.m. In the morning, Braden woke up sitting on Sky's snout. Braden rubbed his eyes and said to himself, "Man, I had a nightmare." He explained the nightmare to no one but himself, but then looked at Sky in shock. "Man, I just thought this was a nightmare." Okay, Braden. Deep breath. He took a deep breath and pinched himself to see if he's still dreaming, but nope, he's awake. Good morning, Braden. Good morning, Braden. They were still eating. They were eating cars in advance. Good morning, Sky. Then he said to himself, "And I thought this was a dream." Sky heard him say that and frowned. "Despite your comment, we left you a store to get your food from. They set you down. They set you down at a store." Braden walked in the story. There was no cashier, no employees, just some knocked over food on the floor. "This place is a mess." They continued to eat as Braden got food. When he went out to walk the store, a big white fluffy butt blocked the exit. "Sky, why are you blocking the exit? You don't want to see what's happening out here, Braden," he followed by a soft moan. Soon the store began to rumble. Glass started to break, revealing white substance coming in from the windows. "What the?" Sky got Braden out before he was touched. "Sorry, Braden. Togo needed a place to let it out." Braden then said fiercely, "I could have drowned in there." Braden took a deep breath and asked calmly, "Can we just go?" "Yeah," Sky said as he got up, and so did Togo and Balto. "Where do you want to be?" he asked. "I am not sure," Braden said to his dog Sky. "How about here?" He gently placed Braden between his pecs. Soon, Balto and Togo decided to move to a popular city full of people. Balto and Togo let Sky pick the city. "How far is New York, Braden?" He looked down at Braden. "Why do you want to destroy my dad's home state?" Braden asked, starting to get angry. "I did not know that. And it's just a big city. It's perfect," Sky said. Braden groaned. "I can't believe Sky wants to do this." Braden thought. Soon Balto and Togo agreed with Sky. They saw a guy and picked him up. They demanded to know how to get to New York. Once they know how to get there, Sky ate him. Braden watched his dog eat a person in horror. 3 giant anthropomorphic dogs notices. "Something wrong, Braden?" He looked down at Braden. "What do you think is wrong? You're eating innocents, so we're hungry," Balto explained. "Besides, it's not like you know him." Togo said to Braden as well. Chapter 3. True, but it's still not okay to eat people. This caused Balto, Sky, and Togo to frown. "It doesn't matter. We're gods. We can do whatever we want," Balto said. Braden shuddered at the thought. They soon arrived in New York. Their tails wagged as they crushed their first buildings. Braden forgot to introduce himself to Balto and Togo. I kind of forgot to introduce myself to you both. My name is Braden George Baum. Nice to meet you," Togo said as Togo said as he looked over at Balto, who was using a building as a dildo. Are you going to tell me your names?" Braden asked. "Togo, that's Balto," he said, pointing at Balto as he let out a moan and shook New York. Braden's eyes widened in shock. "That's impossible. Togo and Balto are both dead. How did you even get here in 2020? We went into a strange-looking box and then we ended up here." Braden was confused. "What box? Do you mean a time machine?" he asked. "Maybe," Togo answered, unsure of what a time machine is. Soon Braden was put on Togo's hand while Sky went to get them more people to eat. Togo held you as he crushed a lot of cars by sitting down. Togo held Braden as he crushed a lot of cars by sitting down. Down? Okay. Why are you destroying the city and killing innocent people?" Braden asked, scared. Balto answered for Togo. Hang on. "Because it's fun to finally feel in control," Balto answered. He went fully down on the building of the king, shot far and knocked the Statue of Liberty into the ocean. Braden was then startled as Sky then spoke to Braden as he was chewing on multiple people. "I think it works out." He swallowed. Braden then said, "Hey Balto, can you go to Central Park? There's something I want to show you." Balto was confused where Central Park is, so he ordered another person where Central Park is located. He stood up and held Braden in his hand. As he went to Central Park, he stopped in the middle of Central Park, looked down. Balto and Togo looked down and noticed the statue of Balto. "That's your statue, Balto. They made it because you were Gnome's hero during the 1925 Cerebron," Braden explained. He went down and sniffed it. He grabbed it and pulled the entire statue off the ground, continuing to sniff it. After he was done sniffing, he yelled in anger at Braden, "They stuffed me and make my death public, and they broke my grill." He threw the statue at a building, and it made the building crumble. "Hey, it was to remember the bravery you did. You were my favorite," Braden argued. Togo tried calming Balto down. "Easy, Balto, easy." He licked his cheek, showing they were still a bit like dogs. "I always liked seeing you when they watched the TV," he nuzzled Balto. Balto and Togo were confused as to what a TV is. "What's a TV?" Togo and Balto looked down at Braden for an answer. "A TV is short for television, but since there is no television back in the 1920s, you probably won't know what I'm talking about. Basically, television plays moving pictures and animations, and there are people who act in movies in real life using real people. And to be honest, they made a movie about you, Balto, but it's a different breed." Balto was now even more confused. Balto asked, "Breed? What breed was I? A wolf-dog hybrid?" At first, the citizens of Nome looked at him as an outcast, but when he saved the Nome people, changed him from hating him to liking him. The main bad guy in the movie was Steel. He was a black and white Siberian husky. You hated that version of Balto. He's been bullying Balto, and then when Steel and his crew were lost, Balto was set on a journey to find them. But then Steel keeps on saying they're not lost, and he knows a way. When Balto found them, Balto wanted to get the medicine, but Steel attacked Balto, biting him. He fell off the cliff, but survived and wanted to make sure that Balto didn't make it back. Braden explained, which of course made Balto furious. "So they twist everything about me? It says on the cover, based on a true story," he growled. "It doesn't mean you have to be all real," Braden explained. And you do have a wife in that movie who is a Siberian husky. Her name is Jenna." Braden continued. "That was ridiculous." And then he made 2 more Balto movies as well, Balto 2 Wolf Quest and Balto 3 Wings of Change. In Balto 2 Wolf Quest, you have a lot of pups because one was a full-fledged wolf. Braden said, "Sounds extremely inaccurate. I never planned on having pups." Braden then said something that would surprise Togo and Balto. They did a movie based on Togo back in November 2019. Braden said, "I told my mom I'm never watching that again because it brought flashbacks of my dog Camille's death." They fell silent. Braden then had a few tears in his eyes. "I really miss her." Sky came over and comforted me. "It's alright," he said in a calming voice. He nuzzled him gently. Braden then said, I almost forgot, in the Togo movie, they made Balto a Siberian husky as well." They didn't care. They came down and nuzzled Braden. Crushed buildings. What the? Hang on.